Facing yet another indictment, former President Donald Trump pleads not guilty to federal charges in Washington, D.C. The former president faces criminal counts related to his efforts to overturn the 2020 election.
Capitol Hill prepped for the appearance by setting up barricades to help with crowd control. A small crowd of police, protesters, and supporters gathered outside the court building awaiting Trump's motorcade arrival. Now, his appearance in criminal court marks his third indictment in 4 months.
Yeah, former President Trump arrived in Washington, D.C. this afternoon. He went immediately to the courthouse where he entered that not guilty plea.
When you look at what's happening, this is a persecution of a political opponent. This was never supposed to happen in America.
President Donald Trump spoke to reporters just minutes after leaving a federal court hearing, this time for an arraignment just a block from where his supporters stormed the Capitol trying to block the 2020 election results.
I'm above the law.
Former President Donald Trump greeted by cheers and jeers as he arrived at federal court Thursday to face felony charges for allegedly conspiring to overturn his 2020 election loss. He pleaded not guilty.
When somebody wants to say that the 2020 election was perfect and that President Trump has no right to object to it, we've got to go show them all the facts, and there's a lot of facts to show.
It's a now familiar routine. After being processed and fingerprinted, Trump briefly faced a federal judge to hear the charges against him.
I've been waiting for this for so long, and it's about time that maybe something will happen to get this guy off the streets, because he's dangerous.
Special counsel Jack Smith alleged on a 45-page indictment that Trump knew he lost the election and still orchestrated a criminal scheme to remain in power, including a pressure campaign on his vice president, Mike Pence, even as his supporters attacked the Capitol on January 6th. Before leaving for Washington, Trump responded on his Truth Social platform, saying in part, quote, "It is a great honor because I am being arrested for you. Make America great again." This is Trump's third criminal case in 6 months, and by far the most serious among the 78 total counts he faces in 3 states.
He'll turn every one of these court cases into another reason that he should win a primary.
And if convicted, Trump faces years behind bars, but for now, he's free to return to the campaign trail with his next event sent for this Saturday in Las Vegas.
Former Vice President Mike Pence weighed in on the latest indictment of the former president. Pence, who is also running for the Republican presidential nomination, spoke out against Trump while also insisting he was never a part of the events of January 6th.
I can't assess whether or not the government has the evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt what they assert in the indictment, and the president's entitled to a presumption of innocence. But for my part, I want people to know that I had no right to overturn the election, and that what the president maintained that day, and frankly has said over and over again over the last 2.5 years, is completely false.
And again, as we've mentioned, this is the third indictment this year for the former president.
Well, former President Donald Trump's legal troubles are far from over. This month, a Fulton County grand jury is expected to hear a case against the former president and others for potential criminal election meddling. Today, Fox 5's Tyler Finger talked with Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, who is set to lead on this investigation. He's live now outside the Fulton County Courthouse with what she had to say. Tyler.
Well, Eric, good evening to you. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis took questions this afternoon, but stayed pretty quiet on not only her investigation, but also the Justice Department indictment that former President Donald Trump appeared on in D.C. a short time ago. She says her focus is on upholding the laws here at home, and she says she stands ready to do that.
It's the final countdown to an indictment decision in Georgia. This month, Fulton County grand jurors are expected to weigh whether to charge former President Donald Trump and his allies with criminal meddling during the 2020 election. It will be the culmination of a 2.5-year investigation led by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis.
And that the oath requires that I follow the law, and that if someone broke the law in Fulton County, Georgia, that I have a duty to prosecute.
The Fulton County grand jurors who will weigh whether to charge the former president and others charges with alleged election interference have already been seated, so an indictment decision could come at any time. Details of the Georgia investigation that have become public have fed speculation that Willis is building a case under the Georgia RICO Act, which would allow her to charge multiple people in a potentially wide-ranging scheme. Willis and her team have looked at several things, including Trump's phone call to Georgia's Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger.
And are you guys ready for what's to come in the next couple weeks?
We're ready.
Willis says despite the former president facing charges in D.C. this week, her focus is Fulton County.
Obviously, we're concentrating on Georgia and things that impacted Georgia.
If Mr. Trump is indicted by a Georgia grand jury, it would add to a growing list of legal troubles as he campaigns for president. This investigation has led to personal attacks on Willis.
All the typical racial slurs that you can imagine. They're very grotesque things. You know, we're on family television. I don't even know that I like to say all of them, but
the Fulton County Sheriff's Office says all the threats that come in are being investigated, and with a possible indictment expected in the next few weeks, they are upping security here at the courthouse. We're live downtown tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, upping security, barriers are out, and roads are set to be closed. Thanks so much, Tyler. And as you just mentioned, one of the big differences between the federal indictment and potential state charges is Georgia's racketeering law.
It could make it easier for Fani Willis to win convictions with serious penalties. Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis is here to explain.
That's right, Christine. Yeah, Willis used the state's RICO statute to great success several years ago when she won racketeering convictions against more than a dozen Atlanta educators, part of a cheating scandal that rocked Atlanta city schools. Well, court observers believe she could also indict Donald Trump and others for racketeering. In Georgia, that requires proof the people involved committed at least 2 crimes, say interference with primaries and elections and influencing witnesses. Those crimes each carry a maximum of 10 years in prison. Racketeering, however, another 20 years max.
And anyone indicted under that RICO charge, they face a far greater liability in Georgia than they do under Mr. Smith.
This week marks 1,000 days since the 2020 general election. How do we get to this place where a former president now faces 78 criminal felonies, with possibly more to come soon in Fulton County? We take a deep dive into those historic 1,000 days tonight at 10.
What other charges could the president be faced with besides the RICO, the racketeering charge?
The Brookings Institute got a bunch of prosecutors together, former prosecutors, including another former DeKalb DA, Gwen Keyes Flemings, and asked them what possible charges could Donald Trump and these other people face. They came up with 13 other potential counts, including false swearing, influencing witnesses, criminal solicitation, the computer trespass going on, perhaps in Coffee County. We've talked about that. So it's clear there's a lot more moving parts with the Fulton County case than what's been going on in Washington, D.C.
Wow. It's just fascinating. This is the point we're at. But Randy, we know you'll be watching all of this.
We will.
All right. Thanks. Well, this is a developing story, of course, so stay with Fox 5 on air and online as we continue to learn more. Be sure to download the Fox 5 Atlanta app for all the latest breaking news alerts and updates. It is free to download in your app store.